Hello and welcome. My name's Marie and this is my yarn journey. Hope you are well. Today's going to be a traditional podcast episode, which is what I usually do on a Friday, and updating you on all what I've been working on in the past week. And just wanted to mention before I get started, I hope you enjoyed the impromptu video that I did the other day. I had a bit of extra time this week. I'm not as busy with work, and I wanted to try to locate the missing WIP. If you haven't watched that video, go ahead and watch that. You can have a nosy at my stash because I sort through all my stash in that video. And I know it's always nice to look at what yarns people have got in stash and to get inspired by yarns and patterns that they are hoping to do in the not too distant future. As usual, you can find all the details of how you can get in touch with me in the description box below. I am on Instagram. I have a Discord. I can be emailed. My email address is down below. If you want to say a thank you to the channel, you can buy me a coffee or a glass of wine. And my Ko-fi account details are down below. And what else? Oh yes, and I also have a wish list on Ravelry. I have reordered most of my patterns into the into a better order again after sorting through my cupboard and looking at all that. The next, if you do want to influence what I'm casting on, obviously I have a lot of patterns on my Ravelry queue. 148 I think last time I looked, and yeah, it's going to take me some time to get through all them, if I ever do, and plans do change, don't they? But at the moment I'm still feeling the summer knits. Summer knits do tend to be what I enjoy knitting the most, and I think it's because they take me less time and I've had quite a lot of success with summer garments. So yeah, I do enjoy knitting them. 10 days to 2 weeks you can have a new garment knitted up, and well, I can, and that keeps me inspired. And I think it's the fact that a lot of the summer knits I've done have been a bit more engaging, so striped patterns like the one I am wearing. And yeah, this one that I am wearing is the Rocket Tee. I made a slight modification to this in that I don't know if you can see because of my hair, but the increases are done with yarn overs, which gives you this eyelet design, and that them eyelets do follow on down the body, and I knew I didn't want that, so I have just done them until I've got to the end of the raglan increases and not carried them on down the body. Absolutely love this top. It seems to be rolling up today, but it doesn't normally. I think it's just the way I am sat down. This was done using an advent, and it was was it 2022 advent, and it was yarn for the Soul Alice in Wonderland advent. Wouldn't be my normal choice of colours for a top, but it actually turned out quite nice, and it does actually go nicely with a couple of pairs of pants that I have got, some summer greeny ones, and then these blue ones that I'm wearing today. So yeah, I think this is a real success. As you can see, it has got, and I hope you can see this on camera, it's got quite a bit of, it's quite light, flowy, airy. This is what I like about summer garments, you see. And I do think that I do need in my wardrobe a few more lighter like one like this, but with long sleeves. That's what I'm trying to say. So that you can wear them in spring and you can wear them in autumn when it's too warm for a thick, heavy jumper, but you need a bit of extra coverage on your arms. But I do find that the sweaters and tops that I enjoy the most are generally fingering weight, and I just like the lightness on my body. That was a long explanation of this top, but yeah, it's definitely one that I think has turned out successful. I wear this top a lot, and I wasn't sure I would when I was knitting it, so that's great. And also the fact that I've used an advent, which we spend a lot of money on advents, don't we? Well, this year I've been a very good girl and not got one. But although I'm still toying with the fact that I may get a Christmas box, but who knows. Right, so I think it's time to talk about the finished objects. Now, this might be quite tricky. So one object that is finished is on the blocking mats. I'm going to attempt to pick it up and show it you, but it is very wet. But I'm certainly pleased that that's off the needles. And the other one is a try-on. So I'll show you the top first. I have finished my Tolsta Tank square neck. And I really hope that I can get this in shot. I'll put it back here. Hopefully you can see this. I'll just shimmy across. It's, yeah, very, very soggy. So I did that in Sanday's Garn Tinline, and I used minis, which were just minis from Stash. And yeah, I've not tried it on obviously since I've blocked it. I tried it on before. The length looked very good. I'm just wondering how much it's going to grow with it being the superwash. Now that pattern, the Tolsta Tank square neck by Rebecca Clow, is knit bottom up, and it's a very beginner friendly knit. The pattern was super easy to follow. It wasn't too wordy at all, and I found it very, very easy to do, even though I was doing the stripes, which the stripes are 2-row stripes. And oh, the minis, I've hardly used any of them. I did 7 different coloured stripes. They've just been chucked into my basket now. I think the colours have turned out lovely together, if you can see. It's trying to fall off here. It's very wet. I really wish, you know, it's quite warm here. It's not cold for the UK at the moment, but if the sun would just come out and I could put this outside, it would dry quickly. This has been on the blocking mat since last night and I don't think it's done a single thing. I might attempt to put it outside if it stays dry, because the breeze might help. But it looks very much like it's going to rain, and it's been like this all week really. Very little sunshine, but it's still 18-20 degrees, which is pleasant and warm, and why I can wear this. It's so annoying, especially when I love sitting in the garden and knitting. But yeah, I'm super pleased with how that's turned out. I just did a Stash dive. I held the, which I haven't mentioned, is I've done the fingering weight version, but it actually held the tin liner or thin liner, or however you want to say it, the Sanday's Garn summer weight yarn. I held that double. Now, the pattern doesn't call for that. It should be, well, that yarn is a light fingering, and if you hold it together, it's light DK. And I don't think there's much difference in the fabrics, although it definitely was a thicker strand. I just felt with it held single, it would just be, I wouldn't get a good fabric. So, and I'm glad I've done that, because actually it's used up. I had 3 balls of that. I was left with a very tiny bit. when I was doing my second strap, I was really getting worried that I was going to run out, because I actually did my straps a bit thicker than what it states in the pattern. So I did 7 rows of ribbing for the bottom, 8 rows for the top band, and then I decided to do 14 rows, so double it for the thing, because I wanted to try and make it as bra friendly as possible. So hopefully that will be enough to cover my bra straps. And actually the picture that I'd taken inspiration from, which I will pop up here, was it did have a bit of a thicker strap, well, certainly thicker than the samples that I've seen that Rebecca knitted herself. Okay, and my second finished objects, woohoo, is this pair of socks. They are finally off the needles. I'm just actually looking at these to compare them, because I've literally just grafted my, or kitchened my toe. I wanted to see if I can see a difference. Now I've put a little light bulb stitch marker in here, as you can see, and it's because there definitely is a difference. This is going to be very interesting now, because I've not tried these on. So to explain, these socks are the basic socks by Summer Lee, and I have quite a few of her patterns. I have her book, and this is what I've got left out of my 100-gram skein and my mini. These are yarns from Giddy Yarn. It's from her Matilda collection, and the colourway is Miss Honey. I loved Matilda, the film, and also I as soon as I saw that colourway, I just fell in love with it, and I thought, yeah, I want to make a lovely pair of socks with them. Now, still on my sock journey, and this is the thing, I will need to probably look back and double check this, or look at, I can't remember, number one, if I have made notes on Ravelry about these. I may have made notes on the pattern. Again, I can't remember. Note to self, I need to be writing these things down, especially if I am not going to be getting them finished in a timely fashion. Now, from what I can remember, the first sock, I think I did a 68 stitch cast on, and I did these on 2.25. And I've put a little light bulb stitch marker there. Now you can see a difference. Now the second sock I've knit in a 72 stitch sock, which, to be fair, in Summer Lee's pattern, the 72 is what she recommends for my foot measurement. But what I've been finding is, and if you haven't been here before, you may not know, is that my leg ends up quite loose, because I have quite a tiny ankle, or narrow ankle, and then over the top here ends up stretched, and the foot ends up tight. So I tried a 68. What I've found as well as I've been knitting along is and getting used to just consistently working on the 9-inch circulars, which I prefer over magic loop, and my hands are getting used to using those needles, is I'm not sure if my gauge has then loosened. So I've been trying to perfect my sock for me, and then my gauge may have also changed. So still a work in progress, still an experiment. Like I say, first sock, 68 stitches, and I just use the same needle throughout, and I think I use a 2.25 millimeter. And again, the leg was a little bit loose and the foot was ever so slightly tight there. What I do with the heels, in even though I did a 68 in this, I still did the flap for the heel with the measurement for the, so this will be in between medium and large, and I did the flap size for the large to try and accommodate the fact that I get the tightness across here. I think I did this heel flap to 2.5, and then this sock, the second one, was done with 72 stitches. But what I actually did on the second sock was I did my leg on a 2.25, and then as soon as I got to this point on the sock, I switched to a 2.5. Now, I wanted to see if that meant that I had a snugger leg just by using the smaller needle size, but then accommodated for the fact that I need a bit more room in the foot. So let's try them on, eh? This is very hard to do in camera, so bear with me while I do try to show you, and then I can always do a bit of B-roll, can't I? The other thing that I'm not sure that this doesn't actually look too bad, so I'll just pull my trouser legs up. Not very easy to show or very attractive, so I'm going to, and you may not be able to notice the tweaks that I've made. And I'm trying to think myself, right, this is sock number 1. I hope you can see that. I've got a little bit of a nobule there. I don't know what's happened on this sock. That probably needs pulling through on the other side. Now, as you can see, what I get, if you can see my foot, what I get is I get a bit of like bagginess here. And I think over time that may stretch out. And then again on this one, there's a slight bit, and you won't be able to probably see that. Maybe I should just, can you now? This is like a comedy routine, isn't it? But there on the foot is where on this 68 stitch, I'm just getting that bit of pulling over the top. Very difficult to show. And then this is the second one. And actually, there's definitely less, but it's still snug enough. And yeah, it's that little bit. Actually, I do think out of the two, that's my preferred. Because what I was, it's very hard to tell when you've made a subtle difference. 4 stitches and, you know, a needle change. It's definitely tighter across the top of my foot on the other one. The foot fit is definitely much, much better on the second sock. So I definitely think the 72, and I think actually what's helped is, yeah, I think that might be the way for me to go with changing the needle size. Now, whether I decide next time to go up another needle size or go down another needle size for the leg, I don't know. But I don't want to have the stitches be too different. See, the reason that I'm not tweaking the stitch count on the socks is that I'm thinking about going forward, if I want to do lace patterns, which I probably will. I really like doing lacy socks, even if they're quite basic. And if I want to do colour work, then having a different stitch count on the cuff and leg to the heel and foot won't work in those scenarios. So I definitely see another thing. What I'm thinking, what I might be able to do next time, is possibly, and this sounds like a bit of a faff, but I could actually do the cuff in even a tighter, the smaller needle. But yeah, it's a very, very personal thing, and not much difference between the two, but definitely I noticed on the first one there is a stretch. I don't think anyone would notice when I've got them on that I've done these experiments, but yeah, let's see what happens when I block them actually. See, that might help because they may just stretch out a little bit. And let's see if they stretch over time when I'm wearing them. But I'm very, very pleased that I've got those finished, and I finally got a third pair in my box of socks. 3 pairs, and it's August. Can you believe that I've only done 3 pairs? Now, I don't know. I don't really want to cast on another pair of socks yet. But yeah, I need to decide which ones I'm going to pick up and get finished. It was really good just to get these done. Been on the needles a while, and like I say, it's going to be interesting to block them and just see what the fit's like after blocking. And I'll just show you again. I know you've seen it recently, but it's in this lovely, lovely bag from the Woolly Tangle. Okay, so that's all I've been working on this week. So I've got my 2 finished objects, which I've talked you through. And then I wanted to talk about my new cast on, which it was supposed to be the Willow top by Lily Kate France, which I will get to soon, hopefully, because I really do want to make that top, and I think I'm going to use that the bright purple yarn. But yeah, and you know what it is, I've just twigged when talking to you about this. What's making me hesitate with that top of actually getting it cast on and put on the needles is the lace. And it's not because I'm worried about lace in general. It's because a couple of years ago, when I was knitting the underlace top by Lily Kate France, which I did frog, I knit it on a different gauge to the pattern. I calculated, and then I hadn't anticipated or understood at that point that the change in gauge would affect the lace pattern and actually affect how it would look. And it kind of threw me off, and I wasn't sure. So I ended up frogging that and putting it on the back burner. Now, this Willow top has, is it called Willow? I'm sure I keep calling it Willow and it's not called Willow. Just let me check. I know in my video the other day I was calling it the wrong name. I've no idea why. Yeah, Willow. It's not called Willow, it's called Winnie. Why do I keep calling it the Willow top? Yes, so the Winnie top by Lily Kate France. And I was so excited for that to be released, and I want that top. I want to knit it and I want to wear it. But yeah, so I think I'm going to have to force myself to actually, you know what I might do? I might do a little bit of a swatch in the lace, have a go at it, and then that will solve that issue, won't it? So the yarn that I caked up last night is this beautiful purple yarn, and this is my next cast on plans. This is Felt Fusion in the colourway Void. It's 50% baby camel and 50% silk, and this has been in my stash for quite some time now. And I have got this for the, and now I can't remember the name of the top either. It's the Tea of Dreams by Claire Jackson, which is perfectly knotted. And I've had the pattern for ages. I've had the yarn for ages. And I just thought I fancy giving it a go. It's knitting flat in 2 panels. Now, the other day in my video, I did say that you see me up at the side, but you don't. What you do, and the nice thing about this top, is you're in full control of the depth of the V on the front and the back, because I think you seam it up from what I've read along the front here. So I've not yet cast on. I was hoping to get it cast on last night, but the ends on my Tolsta Tank took me so long to sew in. It was unreal. Yeah. So if you watch the first podcast when I was talking about it, I actually said, oh, I've been good, I've sewn my ends in. I did that for about the first 7 stripes, and then that got abandoned. And when I got to the end and I was sewing them ends in, it wasn't too bad to do. I just kept, plodding on doing them. But it just took way longer than I expected. And yeah, that is why I'm not wearing it today, unfortunately. Hopefully next week I can have that on in the video. But yeah, so Tea of Dreams by Claire Jackson, perfectly knotted, is with this beautiful yarn, which is very, very soft, is going to be my next cast on, and I should be casting it on today, which is very exciting. And I know what you're wondering. Give me 1 second. I have something to show you, which I've just put in this project bag, and it's the lost WIP. It's no longer lost, thank goodness, because this yarn is beautiful and I didn't want to have lost it. Now, what I've realised I've done, and if you saw my video the other day, was the one place in my cupboard that I did not look and did not investigate, my single skeins. Now, why I decided to do this, I have no idea, but I'd put this WIP in a clear bag, and I'd obviously put it in between my single skeins in the top box, which was quite full already. Then, since doing that, I've piled more single skeins on top and covered it up. But because it was in a clear bag and not a project bag, I couldn't see it. It was well wedged in. And yeah, so happy I've found it. And I'll show you this. These socks are absolutely stunning and the yarn is stunning. This is the Mermaid Avenue socks by Summer Lee. 12-row repeat, not a complicated pattern, although it's very vague in the memory. And I think I might be at the point here where I'm wanting to do the heel, and I think that's why I paused on it. This is the yarn. I got this in a Christmas box, which was a gift, and it was a gingerbread box, and it was by the Copper Kettle, and the yarn is called Gingerbread House, and it's a standard 75-25 sock yarn, and it's lovely and soft. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to have these finished. The reason that I've done this textured pattern in such a variegated yarn is that Summer Lee does actually say that this pattern lends itself well to a variegated yarn. Normally she wouldn't recommend that, but she does in this pattern, and I do think it looks absolutely beautiful. It's showing off all the colours in this yarn. So it's like a gingerbread colour, but then it's got a lot of pink throughout. And lots of other colours, but there's quite a lot of pink in there, which is lovely. And I'm so, so glad I found this. But I've just popped it in here. Possibly this will be the next sock that I start working on. I've got my other socks by Summerlee, which are a ribbed sock with the grey and purple. But both of them are at a similar stage. I just need to check on the pattern. I hope I've made notes. Yeah. That's what happens when you have so many WIPs on the go. But yeah, really pleased that I've found that. I just wanted to talk to you a bit about books. I think I showed you this book that I'd got when we went to Kirby Lonsdale and Devil's Bridge with the boys. And you know what? I loved this book. It was so good. Such a nice, cosy read. Nice, happy ending. Kept me engaged from beginning to end. Yeah, and highly, highly recommend that. There is a second book to this, but a little bit hard to get hold of in the UK. But I've got a few on the bookshelf for now, so I'm going to wait to see if I can find it somewhere else. Okay, and then I showed you the second book to this, which I'd picked up without realising it was book 2, even though it had the number written very clearly on the spine. But I've just started this now, Filthy Rich Fae by Geneva Lee, and you know what? Straight away, I've only read a short bit, but a lot has happened already, and I think I'm going to really enjoy this. Very, very engaging. Supposed to be gone viral on TikTok list. Not that I know that, because I'm not a TikTok person. I don't have an account on TikTok. And as for future plans, I've mentioned that I'm going to be casting on that top probably today. And then I do still want to get the no frills video finished off and work on the eclipse top that I'm going to do for the beginner videos and some little stitch videos. But I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to do that on my week off. So I've got a week off in a couple of weeks, and I should have plenty of time to get cracking, and I'll probably hopefully finish the no frills, then get started on the eclipse for the beginner videos, and hopefully in between there I will then be able to do cast on, cast off, knits, pearls, ribbing, all those bits of stitch videos that people need when they're starting out, and that will be of some help to you. So I'm really getting ready now for my morning coffee. It's quite early, hence why the lighting is the way it is. Hope you've got some wonderful weekend plans. I am off out on date night on Saturday night. Oh, I'm still waiting for the yarn to come for my Tolsta Tank so I can finish that. That would be lovely to have that off the needles. Oh, and I've not weighed these, so I've not bothered talking about my ins and outs. I'm waiting for my lovely parcel from my creative garage. That's winging its way to me from Australia right now. So I'll show you that as soon as that arrives. And yeah, I think that's everything that I wanted to update you on today. So yeah, hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, whatever your plans are. Hope you've got some nice crafting done while watching. Let me know in the comments what you're working on at the moment, knitting or otherwise. And have a lovely weekend. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.